You leave the conversation and feel it immediately. Not upset. Not angry. Just drained. Your shoulders drop. Your thoughts feel thick. You replay things you said, things you almost said. Nothing bad happened. But your mind feels like it just ran a mile it didn't sign up for. And the strange part is this. Other conversations take twice as long and barely touch you. So why did this one empty you out? You were paying attention the entire time. Tracking tone. Reading pauses. Choosing words carefully. You laughed at the right moments. Nodded. Stayed engaged. But underneath that, something else was happening. You weren't resting inside the conversation. You were managing it. And now that it's over, your brain doesn't feel relieved. It feels overworked. Why does talking sometimes feel harder than doing actual labor? This is PsycheQuill, a space for understanding moments like this. Now go back to the scene. You're listening, but not passively. You're scanning. Did that comment land? Was that too much? Should you respond now or wait? Your body stays alert the entire time. Jaw slightly tight. Breathing shallow. You don't notice it until later. Because during the conversation, it feels like being responsible. You assume this is what good conversation requires. It isn't silence that tires you out. It's vigilance. When you finally step away, you blame the obvious things. Maybe I'm introverted. Maybe I'm just low energy. Maybe I don't like people that much. Or worse. Something's wrong with me. You think strong people don't feel this way. That mentally solid people can talk endlessly without cost. So you push through next time. You show up again. You stay alert again. And you leave exhausted again. But the problem isn't weakness. It's misattribution. What's actually draining you isn't the exchange of words. It's the constant internal monitoring running alongside it. A second conversation happening silently in your head. One where you're asking, how am I coming across? Am I being interesting? Am I being too much? Am I being enough? This isn't communication. It's performance regulation. And performance regulation burns fuel fast. Your brain evolved for connection, not evaluation. Connection is reciprocal and loose. Evaluation is unilateral and tense. When you feel mentally exhausted after talking, it's usually because you were doing one-sided work. You were holding the frame. Maintaining harmony. Preventing awkwardness. Sometimes even managing the other person's emotional state. That's not dialogue. That's emotional labor. Here's the uncomfortable part. You probably learned this early. That being relaxed wasn't safe. That silence needed filling. That someone had to keep things smooth. So you became good at it. You learned to anticipate reactions before they happened. To adjust mid-sentence. To soften edges automatically. People like talking to you. They feel understood. But what they don't see is the cost. Because while they're present, you're calculating. Mental exhaustion shows up when attention never turns inward. When you don't get to simply be inside the interaction. Your nervous system stays in a low-grade threat posture the entire time. Not panic. Not fear. Just constant readiness. And readiness without release leads to fatigue. This is why certain people drain you more than others. Not because they're bad. But because around them, you don't feel allowed to be unfinished. You can't trail off. You can't pause without explanation. You can't be quiet without compensating. So you stay on. And being on without rest is expensive. Modern life quietly rewards this. Workplaces praise responsiveness. Social spaces value charisma. Online interaction trains constant feedback loops. You're encouraged to react quickly, speak clearly, stay relevant. Very few environments reward stillness. So when you bring that same performance mode into personal conversations, your brain never downshifts. It doesn't register safety. It registers duty. This isn't about introversion versus extroversion. Plenty of extroverted people feel this exact exhaustion. The difference is not energy, it's permission. Permission to be unpolished. Permission to pause. Permission to not manage outcomes. When that permission is missing, even 10 minutes can feel heavy. When it's present, hours pass easily. Notice this the next time you feel drained. Ask yourself, not out loud, just internally. Was I expressing, or was I maintaining? Because maintenance is invisible work. And invisible work rarely feels satisfying. It just leaves you tired. Here's the deeper layer most people miss. Mental exhaustion after conversation often signals a life pattern, not a single interaction. It suggests you've been prioritizing being received over being real. You optimize for understanding instead of presence. You aim for smoothness instead of truth. Not because you're fake, but because you learned that smoothness keeps things stable. And stability feels safer than honesty, until the bill arrives. The bill shows up as fatigue, as avoidance, as that quiet dread before social plans. Not because you dislike connection, but because your version of connection has been costly. This also explains why solitude sometimes feels restorative instead of lonely. When you're alone, the monitoring stops. No one to read. No atmosphere to regulate. No impressions to manage. Your mind finally stands down. That relief isn't antisocial. It's neurological. The shift isn't about talking less. It's about carrying less inside the talking. Letting responses breathe. Allowing small gaps. Resisting the urge to fix the tone of the room. Not as a strategy. As a posture. You'll notice something subtle when you do this. Some conversations will feel awkward for a moment. And then, nothing terrible happens. The world doesn't collapse. The other person adjusts. The space fills naturally or it doesn't. And your energy stays intact. Not every conversation is meant to flow effortlessly. Some are meant to reveal mismatches. Some are meant to end early. Some aren't yours to carry. Mental exhaustion often comes from carrying conversations that don't belong to you. So if certain interactions keep leaving you depleted, pay attention. Not to what you said, but to what you were doing internally while saying it. That's where the cost lives. You don't need to become colder, or quieter, or detached. You just need to stop performing emotional insurance. Presence doesn't require constant adjustment. It requires tolerance. For silence, for imperfection, for unfinished moments. The next time you walk away from a conversation feeling strangely empty, don't rush to judge yourself. Consider this instead. Maybe your energy wasn't low. Maybe it was being spent elsewhere. On control. On monitoring. On holding things together. And maybe exhaustion is simply your system asking for less management, and more permission to just exist. This is PsycheQuill. For minds that notice too much. If this connected, leave a thought or a question. Or just sit with it. Clarity without comfort.